in the automotive field. Let's head back to the phones where Alex has a question about a generator. It is hurricane season, so it's something we all may have questions on. Go ahead, Alex.
Yes, sir. I bought a generator several years ago, about 7 years ago. Thank God I never had a chance to use it because we haven't had a hurricane. But it's still in the box, and I'm wondering, should I have started that thing and put oil in it and make sure it worked, or should I be confident that it's going to work next time I need it? Because, I didn't want to put oil in it and then have to worry about changing the oil because it's been sitting for a while. What's your recommendation?
You know what, Alex, I probably would not worry about it. I'd just leave it in its box. Most of those generators have never been started, but what they do is they actually put a little bit of stable fuel stabilizer in the fuel tank for shipping purposes. And, so if they set for a long time, on a shipping dock or something like that, if they were to get a little moisture in the fuel tank or whatever, it's not going to cause anything to rust up. So most likely it's had a little stabilizer in that fuel tank whenever it was built. I've seen very few that did not come with some type of stabilizer in them. And if that's the case, which I'm sure it probably is, and besides, now at this point, your best bet is if you know that we're going to get hit, and you know that there's probably going to be a good chance that we're going to be without electricity, you probably want to go ahead and get it out of the box and just make sure that you got it up and running before you have some bad weather hit us. I think that would be my best advice to you. Otherwise, just leave it in the box. It's not, if it ain't hurting anything, just leave it in there. But like I said, chances are it came with stable in it. Now, for other folks out there like myself, fortunately for me, I do have a standby generator here at this hacienda, and it runs off of the propane. We have a huge propane tank that's underground, and we get it filled ever so often, and it runs several gas appliances, and if we lose electricity, it automatically kicks on. Most of the time I wouldn't even know that we lost electric unless I was on the computer, because it has to power back up. But so I don't have to worry about that one, but I do have another one, because I'm prepared for Armageddon. So if the standby goes bad, I've got another one out in the garage I can hook up. But now that one has had fuel standing in it for probably 4 or 5 years. Now what I'm going to do is, and because this thing has set for so long, I'm going to go ahead and order a carburetor for this, and I'm going to have it literally wire tied to the generator. So if I wind up needing a carburetor, I have it in hand, and I'm not going to have to worry about it a day before a hurricane gets here. Now listen, these carburetors for these generators, we're talking dollars. Most of them are less than $10, and not to have an extra one, and that's the only thing that'll leave you stranded with a generator is the stupid carburetor. I wouldn't even bother getting a rebuild kit for these things because the carburetors are so stinking cheap. You're better off if you've got one and the generator's been sitting around for quite a few years, and you're like me, it's got gas in it. Buy a carburetor. It's only a few dollars. Just order it online, and my goodness, you probably get it off of eBay or Amazon. And just have it there. It's just well worth doing that. And another thing too, if they've been sitting a long time, probably be a good idea to order you an air filter. Now, some of them have those foam filters in them, and if that foam filter has been sitting for, well, like in Alex's case, 7 years, it's probably falling apart, so you probably need to replace that too. But make sure you got a carburetor on hand, especially for one that's been sitting a long period of time. They're cheap, may as well. Just good insurance.